It's never too late to start creating content. I get the question all the time. Am I late to the game for YouTube or podcasting or whatever? No, you're not. Today's guest is Kerry Grinkmeyer. He's 80 years old. 80. He has 183,000 followers on his YouTube channel. I say that all very slowly because that, to me, is insane and really, really impressive. If you want to get some of the information on how he got there and why he does it, stay tuned. So, Kerry, thank you for coming on. I've been looking forward to this since we talked last week, kind of in a pre-call. I mean, we met through the 10,000 Small Businesses platform. Yeah. You've got a massive YouTube following. What strategy have you found like the biggest piece to engaging with those people that, I mean, like I said, it's 183,000 people that you have following you. What is your strategy for engaging with those people and keeping them active all the time?
I think it was brought to my attention several weeks ago. Every Friday, I have what I call a stock talk, and anywhere from 50 to 100 people show up on a Zoom call, and we talk. And Heidi is the blind girl she's legally blind, but she made this statement. She said, "Kerry, I fell in love with you back when you told me about your daughter's death, and you're totally transparent. And you will say however you feel, and you draw the hearts of the people that you deal with." So I think that's it. And on a lighter side, I had my eyelids lifted so you can see my eyes. I believe you fall in love with people through their eyes. So that's my 2 keys to success. Be transparent, be honest, admit your frailties, because we all have them.
We do.
And you will draw people, and they will, it's like I learned in sales. First, they got to trust you, and they got to feel comfortable with you, and then they'll give you what you want.
That 100% makes sense. We talk a lot about that know, like, and trust with people, about how to build that up, how to make sure that you're working with that, and how video does a great job with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fact that you're obviously sitting there in your office talking with people is really an amazing part of that. You said every Friday. A lot of people struggle with consistency, and be it their marketing efforts, be it their video efforts. How do you manage to stay motivated? And I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. You're 80. There's a lot of people that are 80 that are sitting on the beach and perfectly content with that. Yeah. How do you stay motivated?
I love the stock market. And I think, and I'm a competitive person. I think I told you up until about 2 years ago, I ran in the Senior Olympics in the 100 meter, the 50 meter, and the 200 meter. I love to compete, and I love to train. And so in my mind, the stock market is the one place I can still very, very competitively compete, because I'm a focused person. And if I want to know something in today's world, it's all available to me here on my keyboard. And so I can beat you at the stock market just by research. I learned then there's 66 million people in the world who manage their own portfolio. So I basically said, I'm a retired financial advisor. I understand the financial markets. With the addition of the internet and the data that I can access, I can figure out which stocks are going to go up. And then if I can share that with you at a reasonable cost so you can make money and you can improve your family's life, I'm contributing. And to contribute at 80 years old, that's pretty amazing. You don't see many people can do that. And then I take NMN. This is an additive that I take, and I don't make any money on it. For 3 years, I've taken that. I read a book by Robert Sterling, and it basically said, if you'll take that, you'll be able to go out 3 times a week and race 3 other people with a tiger coming after you, and you can for sure not get eaten.
That 100% makes sense. 100% makes sense. I absolutely love it. With this, you've mentioned your son helps you repurpose some of the content, because you got into this basically out of necessity to do something, correct?
Right.
Right. Your son helps you repurpose some of the content. Have you found that those snippets have been valuable for you?
Yeah. He puts them on Instagram and TikTok, and we get a movement of younger people from those 2 channels, and it's built our base, but I would say still 60% of our people are over 55 years of age.
Wow.
And that's to be understood. We go through a life cycle where you graduate from college, and most people, or from your last year of education, and most people struggle, and they start a family, and they have children to educate. They have a mortgage. They have a car payment. I have none of those. And as you get into your elder years, you start saving money, and so that's why, about 55, your last child graduates from college. You've got tuition money that you can allocate in other directions. You learn what a 401k and an IRA and a Roth IRA are, and you start thinking about retirement. And I just wish I could get to people who are 20 and get them to commit. I did a chart. I said, what if in 2004, as the internet was taking off, I had been smart enough to invest in Google, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft, and put $6,000 a year into a Roth IRA, and did that every year, equally distributed between the 4 of them. Today, I'd have $4.2 million
That's all?
tax-free money.
That's all?
Yeah. And it's happening again. It's happening again because AI will be bigger than the internet.
I agree with that.
It brings us so much more. And I think the easiest way to think about AI is it gives you access to all the knowledge in the world. What do you want to learn? Just go ask ChatGPT.
Sure.
And now I found one where it makes podcasts for me. It's a Google product called Notebook LM.
Yep.
And so I say, you want to know about GTLS, a stock, just go gather all from the internet, the latest articles, the latest earnings report, and they'll give you a 15-minute podcast, and you'll know all you need to know about that stuff.
Yep. That Notebook LM has been an amazing tool, and it's funny because people ask us about it all the time. They're like, are you threatened by it? Because it'll create podcasts for you. And I'm like, no, because it's a research tool, and it creates some engaging, interesting information, but it's not this authentic this authentic interaction, which is, it's funny because it's a great segue into my next thing here. You've got quite the camera presence. There's an enthusiasm. There's the charisma behind it. Has that always come natural to you, or have you worked on that?
No, it just comes natural. I'm very expressive with my hands. I did a video this morning. I got really carried away. I started. Wait a second. I got to slow down. No, I believe in what you and I are doing is we are connecting with people. And if you've got energy, then you express it and it becomes contagious. Um, and so if I can, if I, I had to bleep some words this morning out of my video. And I thought, well, I'll just cut that out. And I said, no, that's me. That's how I express myself. My wife says, stop talking like that. Well, I'll just cut it out. No, I think the human factor is extremely important in connecting with people. And I think I hear people. I was talking to a young lady who asked me, well, how do I become successful on YouTube? I said, well, the first thing you got to do is take your glasses off. And she said, no, I look good. I said, I'm not arguing that. You look gorgeous with your glasses, but I can't see your eyes. And if you got any light that is going to reflect off of those glasses, I won't be able to see your eyes, and you and I will lose connection. So it's just opening yourself up and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. But then also you've got to convey knowledge. That's why people come. I can remember. I think my first experience with YouTube was my wife many years ago. I was giving her Christmas presents and she says, I'm not interested in that. I don't like it. And I saw her giving everything I gave her to Goodwill. And I said, Nita, what is it you want? She said, I think I'd look awfully good in a Porsche. And so I was doing well at the time. And so I bought her a Porsche. But the headlight went out after a couple of years. And I knew what it was going to cost me to have that headlight replaced at the Porsche dealer. So I went to YouTube and a guy taught me how to open the headlight out and to replace it. Saved me $600. But he was extremely giving. And he looked directly at me and I said, this is something I want to be a part of. I can share my knowledge, I can share my experiences, and I can help somebody make their life better. And so that was my first introduction to it.
I love that.
But in retirement, it's become what Josh, you're involved with the school, and you're very active. Once you retire, your world gets very, very small.
Okay.
Unless you get involved in a gym, or you have a group of people that you meet every Tuesday for coffee, your world gets extremely small. And most people end up sitting on TV watching their favorite news programs and favorite TV programs, and their life comes to basically a standstill. And then they entertain themselves by going on cruises and putting themselves within a community of nobody that they know, and just having a nice week on a cruise ship. Whereas my life, I interact with people every day. I make a video, I go to the video, they make comments. Sometimes they don't make nice comments.
It is the internet.
That's enjoyable. That's enjoyable. But again, it's like I said to somebody the other day, you take a swing at me, I'll punch you in the nose and come back at you hard.
I love that.
That gives me some life, gives me some activity, gives me some interchange. Most retired people don't have that.
So a lot of the stuff you said in there is really interesting because of the retirement piece, and we see that in so many cases. With men, most men die within 2 to 3 years of retirement. That's a fact because they have once again lost their purpose in life. The thing that I want to go back to that you touched on just a couple of minutes ago, that guy that you saw on YouTube that taught you how to replace that headlight. Mm-hmm. You said he came from a very giving place.
Yeah.
And I find that really, really interesting because really what you're trying to do, like everything in your channel is trying to bestow knowledge and what you've found to other people. Do you feel that that giving has been like one of the big keys as to why your channel's been successful?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I put out a video starting, I guess it was in November of 2019. I did it for 4 years, every day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
I just recently, I guess after the pandemic ended, I brought it down to 6 days a week, or 5 or 6 days a week. And now the other element I've brought in is part of actually the Goldman Sachs program. They challenged me, as you know, what is your growth opportunity? What is your opportunity to grow your business? And I came away and said, I've never paid for a subscriber. I've never paid for anybody to come to my channel and subscribe and pay me a monthly fee to have access to my portfolio. So I started a paid advertising, and on December the 1st was the first time I put any money towards paid advertising. And through the month of December, I spent $1,200 on paid advertising and brought in 220 new subscribers, paying me $19.95 a month.
Wow.
And now, Josh, all I got to do is throw money at it, and it will grow. It will grow.
That return on investment is there's a return on investment there that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's I spend I've tracked it. I spend something around $13 to get a $240 paying customer.
That's not bad.
No, and he'll pay me probably for the next 5 years.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I mean, you mentioned you went from 7 days, you backed down to like 5 or 6 days a week, which
Right.
is still insanity.
It's not hard.
When you do that, are there any tools that you use to help you with that? Or, I mean, how do you make sure that you've got content to come out every single day?
I wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. I lay in bed for roughly an hour and think. That's
Interesting.
all I do. And in that hour, I say to myself, if I were out there, what would I like to learn about the stock market today? What could give me some information that would make me a better investor? And where I found, again, I will lean on Goldman Sachs. I was shocked. There's 26 people in our program, and we got into that section where you start talking about the metrics and your balance sheet and your income statement. And I was shocked that I was the only one who understood a income statement.
Sure.
I was the only one who knew the difference between gross margins and operating margins. And I said, oh my goodness, I'll bet these people who are buying stocks don't know the difference between a gross margin and an operating margin. If they don't understand that earnings per share translates into profits, and
Sure.
if you aren't growing your earnings per share faster than inflation, you're going out of business. You're going out of business. I mean, it's just like I said she said, I don't understand that, my wife. I said, if we're spending more money than we're bringing in, we're going out of business. Or we're going in debt, which is going out of business further out.
Right. That's just kicking the can down the road.
But I look at it at Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
I mean, they grow their profits at 2%, while inflation was at 5%.
Sure.
You're going out of business, folks.
It doesn't work.
Don't realize it yet.
Right. Right. Yeah. It will catch up to you.
But then there are other companies who are growing their revenues and their earnings in excess of 20% per year.
Sure.
So why not invest in them?
Yeah. Go where the money is. And
or where the money's growing.
Yeah,
where
for
the money's
sure.
growing.
Speaking of growing, you've really built a community.
Yeah.
You've mentioned you've got a pretty good sized Discord group that you work in.
Yeah.
That community, how important has that community been for in terms of building your channel and building that just knowledge of people knowing what you do? Do you feel that like that word of mouth and the people in the community working together is what makes it so people are staying around?
Yeah, there's a interaction with me through a video, but they really can't interact. Okay.
Sure.
Why do you go to church? Is it to interact with the priest or the pastor or the rabbi? Not really. It's to interact with the other people in the congregation.
Sure.
You stay after, you have coffee, you chat, you share your experiences. That's what a Discord is. That's what a Discord. This is what I did today, and this is the results. And in some cases, it's to bear your wounds, or in some case, it's to brag. It's to say, hey, this is working for me, and I want to share it with you. Because on our Discord, it's not only, if you're familiar with the Discord, for a long time, it was just typing and interacting via chat. Well, now Discord has a live function. Mm-hmm. So you can go on, and we have two different number of groups. One is swing traders. These are people who are trading actively during the day or during the week. And then there are others who are like me, who are long-term investors. And so we compare. I have what I call an office in the Discord. People come, ask me questions. I show up, I answer the question, and we create a relationship. And one of the most important things happened to me, I guess it was last year. I got a phone call. I don't usually make my phone number. It's there if you really want to hunt and find it. And it was from a Mexican guy in Houston, Texas. And he told me and my brothers own a laundromat. And I've been following your channel. And you mentioned that you have a learning disability. I said, yeah, I'm dyslexic. And he said, and you talked about how you read books. And I said, yeah, I use Audible. He says, I have two boys who have learning disabilities, and they are made fun of in school, and they're having a lot of difficulty. Tell me about what this Audible is all about. And I told him, called me back 2 months later, and he said, you've changed my boys' lives. They now read. They now interact with each other from the books that they're listening to. They now can go to school and they can participate. I mean, you just don't get that in life.
No. And it's tougher to find that. I guess I would say, I don't want to say it's tougher to find that in a daily interaction, but when you can find that from someone that's a couple of thousand miles away, and you know that there's all sorts of people that are getting not necessarily that direct interaction, but they're getting that same education from you in between there, that's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
That's
it gives you purpose.
100%. I love that. And it's funny because I see in so many cases when people are like, we're obviously focused on helping companies make marketing videos. Yeah. It's a big part of it. But in that, we see so many people that are so busy trying to make marketing videos that they lose that connection.
Yeah.
You kind of go the other direction. You're 150% about the connection and the education, and the fact that it organically has marketed itself has really been a big bonus for you then.
Yeah, it's a win-win on both sides.
I love that.
Gary Vaynerchuk says, give, 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 and then ask.
You've talked about the importance of finding your passion in this.
Mhm.
You talked about that before. Is your passion for this, do you feel that's a big part of your success with this?
Oh, yeah. First of all, I discovered I'm a creator. I love to create. When I worked for Polaroid, I worked for American Express, I worked for Purex. I didn't realize this until I would come home and I would paint paintings.
Sure.
See that Picasso there?
Yeah.
Okay, I painted that. See
Nice.
that? Well, where is it? Well, you can't see it because of the light. I realized I enjoyed taking a white canvas and paints and painting. And I would stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning and then get up at 7 and go to work. But I always came back to painting. Then I got into photography. I loved creating photography. After I retired, I wrote 4 books. And at about 68 years old, I said, holy crap, you're not a salesman, you're a creator. You're a creator. And I thought, if I had known that when I was 18 years old, what would I be? I'd been a movie producer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would have, I am excited. One of the books that I have written is all about my learning who I was. I recognized that you and I's personalities and our character was formed in the first 14 years of our lives.
Sure.
And I use 14 because that's when I hit my 10th day. Things happen to you in your childhood that form your character. And it channeled, and then with the talents that you've got, you find you gain vision into your passion. My mother died when I was 8 years old of cancer. When she was dying, she was in the hospital with cancer. The most important day in my life happened on May the 3rd of 1953. We went to see my mother in the hospital, my brother and I. It was his birthday. He's 16 months older than me. My mother did not realize it was his birthday, and he got angry because he thought we were going there to see her. We hadn't seen her for 6 months to celebrate his birthday, and she didn't say anything about it. And he got angry, and he took it out like he always did on me. Slammed my head against the wall. I started crying. My dad said, "Go down to the car. You boys are disturbing your mother." My mother said, "No, leave Kerry there. I want to see him cry." I did not know what that meant until I was in my 60s. I believed my mother didn't love me.
Interesting.
That was the most important day in my life. I carried that with me for years. My father never talked to me about my mother's death. There are 9 other days happened in my life that formed Kerry's character. The most important thing Kerry needs is love.
Sure.
And he gets it through his YouTube channel.
To me, it's those types of personal stories that you've shared throughout your channel, too, that I believe also are a big connector. It's that authenticity that you show up with that, to me, I find absolutely amazing. You have this unique blend of this charisma, this zest for life, and this honesty that presents to people that I absolutely love. And
I would call it, Josh, vulnerability.
I even like that better.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because to me, that is really what allows people to connect with their audience, that vulnerability. Hey, this is actually me. This is not a curated version of me. This is actually who I am.
Yeah.
That is, and to me, what's interesting about that I feel like that is a big key ingredient to your community, because they know they're dealing with Kerry Grinkmeyer. They are not dealing with this curated persona that you're trying to put out there that may or may not be a little bit fake or whatever. It's you. It's raw Kerry.
And that is, and it's not just Kerry. Elon Musk is the same way.
Interesting.
Jeff Bezos is the same way. Steve Jobs was the same way. They're very vulnerable.
Sure.
And they let you in if you want to come in, but they'll punch you in the nose.
So here's a big question for you then. What is probably, when it comes to your content creation journey, what is the biggest lesson that you've pulled out of that you feel like you can share with people that are maybe just starting out or maybe a little ways along the journey? What is the one thing that you could say, this is something that I learned that I need to share with someone about that content?
Do it from your heart.
Sure.
And spend the time to create knowledge that is worth something, rather than just fabricate things and to try to do it all with your personality. But actually, I spend a lot of time researching stocks and getting into the numbers, and then I create Excel spreadsheets that I put it in a form that you can understand and you can digest, and then I make it available to you. And again, is there a profit motive here? Oh, yes, there is. And why? I don't need the money, but again, I told you I'm competitive, and in business, there's only one measurement of success in business, and that's money.
Yep.
So again, I'll be very straightforward with you that if my TAM, my total addressable market, which I told you earlier is 66 million people, if I can just get 2% of that and get them to pay me $20 a month, do the math. I tell people, and people say, why do you use such big numbers? And I said, because they're possible. I can become a billionaire. I can become a billionaire. You know the word unicorn.
Yep.
You create a business that is worth over $1 billion. I see it within 3 years.
That's amazing.
Again, I told you, I am spending $1,000 or $5,000 in January, and I will get a $240 customer for a $13.50 expenditure. All I got to do is throw enough money at this, at my 66 million potential buyers.
Yep.
You know, I ran ads. I got 2,000 views from Nigeria. South Korea, Mexico, as well as the United States and Canada.
And what's interesting about that is those can be your target audience because they can invest that way.
Yeah, and they have an interest. If I had told you there were 2,450 people in Nigeria who were interested in investing in the U.S. stock market, you'd say, you're crazy. No, they're there. And I can reach them.
What's interesting about it is what I think so many people lose sight of is, and you really speak well to this, is people are like, when they go to start a podcast or they go to start a YouTube channel, they're like, well, we teach them to niche down. and to be specific, because when you do that, when you realize that there's 8 billion on the planet, if you niche into the right people, there's probably only a couple of million that are interested in what you're doing. And if it's only if there's only a couple of million people that would be interested in what I was doing, I may lose some sleep about it, but I'd probably still be okay.
Yeah.
That's
and Seth Godin writes the book, and says, if you can find 1,000 people who are loyal to you, you can make a living.
Oh,
and
totally.
he uses the Grateful Dead as an example. They had one big hit, but they had a group of people that just followed them around and worshiped them.
Yeah.
You just need to, and again, I don't like the word niche because it tells me to think small.
Sure.
Just go to Google. This is what I did. I went to ChatGPT and I said, how many people are there in the United States that manage at some level manage their own stock portfolio? And they came back to me and said 33 million people in the United States. So I went back and I said, how many would you guess there are in the world? And their answer was, we really don't have sound information on that, but we would guess it's another 33 million. So I tell you, I have a 66 million TAM, total addressable market. So whatever go ask Chat, how many people want information on how to create a podcast? And I'll guarantee you, it's going to be in the millions.
Sure.
Now you
100%.
say, okay, how much would they be willing to pay me $5 a month to teach them how to do that? Well, okay. So I get 1 million people paying me $5 a month. Can I work with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to cut back on a few things, but we could find a way to make it work. That's Kerry. I mean, I really appreciate the conversation here today. It's interesting. You're a visionary in so many ways, and you're an inspiration in so many other ways. Where can people find you to reach out, to find your channel, to get in touch with you? Give me a couple of places where people can get a hold of you.
Well, it's bestofusinvestors.com is our website. Our YouTube channel is Best of Us Investors. Our Instagram is Best of Us Investors. And you can Kerry Grinkmeyer, and you'll find I'm a retired financial advisor, built a large practice within the Ameriprise system, and then sold it in 2005 and traveled the world. And then my daughter died. That I need to point out that shirt.
Go ahead.
That's a bicycle jersey. You and I talked about this. You like bicycles. On October of 2014, my daughter and I went to a cancer-raising fund to ride 24 Hours of Booty, it was called, to raise money for finding a cure for cancer. That was October of 2014. She died on December the 26th of the same year, fighting cancer. I think that's part of the driving force. I want to keep her memory alive. I heard a wonderful quote that when they stop talking about you, that's when you die.
I've heard that too.
But as long as there are people talking about you, Shannon Marie will live.
I love that. Kerry, once again, thank you so much. The talking that you're doing and the legacy that you're building, both in what the video that you're creating and the legacy that you're helping others build, to me is going to live on for a very, very long time. Once again, Kerry, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time today.
Anytime. I enjoyed it immensely.
Kerry's really found his audience through his passion. I mean, he's got a passion for not only what he does, but helping other people and educating them. To me, that is the piece that sometimes is missing from content creators. We see people that just aren't passionate about what they do. You can tell, obviously, I enjoy being here on this side of the camera in some cases. I also enjoy being on the other side of the camera. my enthusiasm for that, I think, shines through. And it's one of the reasons why, as a business, we've been successful. And it's one of the reasons why I truly, am grateful for this every single day. I love hearing from people. I love hearing their stories. I love hearing that content creation. I'd also love to help you with that. So do me a favor. Go to our website. Go ahead and sign up for that email list. We send out podcasting tips every week. We update you when new podcasts come out. We're not spammy. We're not going to, to me, it's making sure that we are giving you value, much like what Kerry does. It's all about making sure that we're educating you and giving you value. So go ahead and sign up for that. Also, make sure you subscribe, follow all the other things, push those buttons. If you could, leave a review for us, please. It would help us immensely. If you can, share this with a friend that you think it may help. As always, take care of yourself, and if you can, take care of someone else too. I will see you very soon.